We all know that repetitive processes done in small increments are always the key to success. And all four of us in our Work First Mastermind, we all have very different and very unique systems and processes, but we all follow the same pattern in that we work first every day. So what I'd like to do is go around our group with Misty and Rachel and Jennifer and myself and share a couple of the systems and processes that we use that drive our business forward. Ladies, thank you for being with us and welcome again. And Misty, let's start with you because you've got some great systems and processes and should share with our viewers that you've only been doing this for about 6 months or so, and you've had wild success with your systems and processes. And of course, we don't want to use real vendor names or anything like that, but why don't you share a couple of your systems that you use and processes that you have in place?
When I first started, I'll be honest, I had no system. I had no structure. I had no pipeline. I was starting from the very depth, very bottom, pond scum bottom. That's how low I was. But I mean, I had to learn. I mean, it just wasn't something that I was able to put in place overnight. I mean, I had to play around with things to see if it worked. If it didn't, then I would move to the next one. But the one system that I did find is my CRM, which is, where I keep all of my information. That's my contact information. I mean, when you find a system that works for you, and especially with a CRM. I know, I'm assuming all of you guys use CRMs, correct?
Yes.
I mean, I can't imagine a realtor being able to do a business without one, to be honest. I mean, because that's where all your contact information is. That's where it's housed. That's where and I take notes, and every time I make a call, I put a note in that CRM. It lets me know when I called them, if I spoke to them, what we talked about. If I talked to them 2 weeks earlier and they were telling me about their dog named Lucy, don't think I don't put that in my CRM. I do. Because I can't remember Miss Smith that I called 2 weeks ago, what we talked about. Not when you start building your business, you're going to have more than 5 contacts. You're going to have like 100, and you can't remember everybody you talk to. So I called Miss Smith and she talked to me about her dog, Daisy. I'll ask her, so how's Daisy doing? That's building a relationship. I don't call people to get them to sell their home right away. I build that relationship. And that's part of my system, is building that relationship. That's my
great.
First tier of, what I do. My second tier is, when I get a lead and, they're not ready to list right yet, but they're going to be ready in a couple months. In my CRM, I put a notification on there for a month from now for me to call that person so I can follow up. A lot of realtors, I don't think, follow up. Other realtors are like, what are you doing? Well, I'm doing, I follow up, and following up is the most important system that you can put in place for your business, is the follow-up process.
That's so true. That's so true. A good contact management system is critical. I mean, you've got to have a way to stay in touch. And, when you stumble on people every single day, it's almost impossible to remember everything. And if it's not in your CRM, you're going to run into problems. You will miss opportunities. And I would say that having a good CRM that you actually use is probably the first step and the fundamental pillar of, keeping your business alive. Rachel, what would you say would be a couple of systems and processes that you would like to share with our viewers?
So a few of the things that I do to prospect and keep my business going is kind of setting up different things that I do that are going to generate business, and then time blocking them. So I do an open house, probably one every weekend, with one of our luxury or new home communities. And I make calls. People that come to those open houses, those people that I meet, they go in that CRM. I have a CRM too, and I put them in there. And another thing is, so I'm prospecting. So people that I call, expireds or FSBOs, they're going to go in that CRM as well. So I'm building a book of business. So that's very important. And then also a big part of my business is, I would say, social media marketing. So I do get leads off of there as well. So anywhere I'm getting leads, they're going to go back into my CRM. And then on the times that I time block to call, I'm going to call those people. Now, it's awesome when they pick up and they're like, yay, I'm ready to buy a house now. But most of the time that doesn't happen. They're not going to want to buy a house or sell a house the first time you call them. So that's the importance of taking good notes, building that relationship, and following up. So you're time blocking and you're creating notes and when to keep following up them. And not just a phone call. Send them a note card thanking them for attending the open house. Thank you for the opportunity for taking my call. Different ways to reach out to them and make sure that, when they are ready, they know to get in touch with you, or hopefully you will be keeping in touch with them when they are ready. So those are some good systems to put in place.
Those are excellent systems. And you probably, I would have to say, are the poster child for the open house system. You have a really good open house campaign, and you pretty much do it with the luxury market, which is very impactful, very powerful. And I think that's a big pillar of your business. And I just love the way that you do that with your luxury insider circle, and it's developing and getting bigger and working better. And you just put energy into that. And I love that. And you're on the right team that encourages that, and they help you with that. So,
well, I just want to say one more thing since you mentioned the open house thing. I know a lot of new agents be like, open houses, they're no good, it's a waste of time. Nobody might come. Well, guess what? When nobody comes, I use that time to prospect and make calls or send those emails while I'm waiting people to come, or taking videos of the house. The only person that knows nobody came is you. So
that's a great
just use
I
your
love
time
that.
wisely.
I love that. I love that. So and while you're at the open house, what are you doing? You're doing what we do at our mastermind. We are working first. We're working first. So that is awesome, Rachel. I love that. And nobody knows that you had nobody at your open house except for you. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So Jennifer, what are a couple of systems or processes that you could offer our viewers, specifically to our newer agents that are kind of breaking into the business and really are looking for their little sweet spot?
I'm not going to get into the weeds of different things. I'm going to keep this very generalized. But real quick, to Misty and Bob's point, a CRM, in case you don't know what that is, and Bob mentioned it, he called it a contact management system. It's a client relationship management system. And number one, I don't want you to get stuck on which CRM should I use. I guarantee your company provides one to you. The best one is the one that you're going to use. And guess what Jennifer used for probably the first 5 years that she was in the business? She had just this little Excel spreadsheet and made a new one for every month. And I would list people on there. They got color coded according to whether or not they were actively going to start looking for something or, sell something. They got color coded in red if they were like, never call me again. But okay, so on to the next thing. The first thing, this is called the Work First Mastermind. So the very first thing that I'm doing in the morning, once I get to my desk and I get situated, is I have a goal to make at least 6 calls a day. I have to have 18. So I want to make at least 30 calls. I've got to have 18 conversations for the week at a bare minimum. So my first thing that I'm doing is I'm sitting down, and probably for about a good hour, I'm calling at least 6 people. And if you want to know who I'm calling, you need to go back and listen to the last podcast that we did. But now that I've been in the business for so many years, that includes my past clients. It includes the people that I know. So I'm making my calls. I'm going into my CRM. To everybody's point, I'm recording, the relationships, the different things that they tell me. So number one, I'm making my calls. Then I'm also sending out 2 notes per day. So my goal is to send out at least 10 notes a week. So those notes include, for me now, home anniversaries. When you're first starting out, you won't have those, but you can do that later. Anybody whose birthday that I know it is, they're going to be getting a birthday card. And sometimes it's just a nice card with like right now it's summertime. So it might be like a beachy card, and I'll find like some little quote, on I don't know, Better Homes and Gardens, summer quote, something like that, and I write it in, hope you're doing good. Don't stay too hot, something like that, and I'm sending it out. And it's nice for people to get, something in the mail. So my touch points are phone calls and notes. And one of the things that my mom was generating, and we'll talk about this on another podcast sometime in the future, is how do you determine how many phone calls you need to make? How do you determine how many conversations you need to have? How do you determine how many notes you need to be
That's right.
writing out? So we'll
That's
do
right.
that. Yeah, we'll do that sometime in the future. But if you don't do anything else, the very first part of your day needs to be making those phone calls and writing notes. And then once you do start getting clients, then after that, you can work on your file transactions and, go through those steps that need to be done, your standard operating procedures that you have. But that's typically my day as far as systems go. So
That's awesome. That's awesome, Jennifer. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, the one thing, every real estate professional can have a number of different systems. It's good to have 4, 5 different systems. I know I've got a couple, and thank you, ladies, for sharing a couple of your systems. But let me give our viewers a few suggestions of systems that you may want to consider. And you don't have to do what we all do. You could come up with your own. But the key part to having a system or a process in place, I call them pillars, is consistency. The consistency and the daily work that you do is always going to be the number one component to whether you have success with any of your systems or all of your systems. My primary one is I still wholeheartedly, I'm the old guy in the group. I am a big mail, call guy. I do a lot of mail. I do a lot of calls, and it is the backbone of my business. It really is the foundation of my business. It's the number one pillar. I call lots of expireds. I call lots of for sale by owners, and I call lots of folks in my past sphere of influence that I've done business with before. It's a constant process. I have a very aggressive expired campaign and a very aggressive for sale by owner campaign. And I do it for a reason. And that simple reason is it works. And when you're part of a mastermind like ours, you're going to keep coming back to that same thing all the time. Learn how to use your phone. And remember, if you want to be successful, you've got to work first. The business isn't going to just magically appear on your desk. It just won't. I do mail nonstop, and I don't mind doing it. Build your sphere of influence. Misty started out the whole conversation with that one component. Build that sphere of influence, okay? Build a book of business, get it in your CRM, nurture it, maintain it, and keep it forever, okay? And some of us have even had the opportunities to sell our book of business. And it's a great mechanism to not just manage your business, but to see things on your desk all the time and get repeat business out of all those folks that are in your sphere. We touched on Rachel's open house campaigns. If you're going to do an open house campaign, make sure you've got a process for the open house. Okay. Make sure it's in the right location. Make sure it's a place that's safe. Make sure it's a place that's worthy of an open house. Really look at the property before you make a decision to open house it. And remember, when you do an open house, it's not for the benefit of the seller. It's for the benefit of you. You want to build relationships through those open house. And Misty, you've heard me say it a million times. It's not the open house.
It's the sizzle.
It's not the steak, it's the sizzle. One of the pillars that Rachel didn't even talk about, she's got a pillar of absentee owners. She works the absentee owner market. She's making her phone calls. Rachel, I'm going to brag on you. You're making your absentee owner phone calls, and you brought in this crazy one this week that was just like an unbelievable, but it was an absentee owner. That's where it started. That was the source. It probably cost you 3 cents for that lead, right? Probably didn't even cost you 3 cents, So, that's a good pillar. That's a good system to have in place, whether you do a mail system or a call system or a mail call, mail call, mail, whatever, however you want to do it. One more thing, think about. we all love to network. We all like to be in front of people. And if you're going to go to networking events, a real key piece of advice, go to networking events that will drive your business in the right direction. Okay. I love networking events at my realtor association. I love them. I think they're great. They're wonderful. But networking with other realtors is cool, but it's not going to generate any business for me. Okay. I want to be in front of people that can help me get a couple of lead resources. Okay. So always be looking for those lead resources and, maybe your Chamber of Commerce or your BNI or those types of networking events that will get you in front of people that you don't know that can stimulate a little bit of activity. So I just gave you a couple of ideas for sale by owners, expireds. Some people make pillars out of the probate list, divorced listings. Those are sad, but very good ones. There's just so many. And we would love to share some other ideas. If there's viewers that want to inbox us or subscribers that visit our podcast regularly, you want to give us a call or email us, we would be glad to share a few, of other ideas because we couldn't even touch it. Jennifer said, where do I start? So please feel free to do that. And by the way, please feel free to subscribe and like our podcast. We'd love the idea that we're getting viewers. And for our realtor family, look, we have uncovered in our mastermind group that there's a synergy that happens with 4 people or 5 people. There's something magical that happens with numbers. Somehow it turns into business. And when you mastermind and you put those ideas together and you work as a body, there's just magic in the way that it turns into transactions and volume. And not to mention that it makes us all feel pretty good when we do it. And we love getting by giving. Glad to share. Ladies, do you have anything else that you would like to share as a pillar that you think might be good or a system that maybe we overlook?
It's just cool that between the 4 of us, we all have different pillars that we use.
Yeah.
And for some reason, there's dozens of other pillars, but the 4 that we do, I don't mail. My main pillar is picking up that phone and calling. And that works for me. Mail, call, and mail works for you, and the notes works for Jennifer. The open house works for Rachel. So we all are different for how we're doing it. And that's what I'm saying. When the new realtor comes in, you got to do what works for you. Mail doesn't work for me. I love doing open houses. I hate to write. So I just pick the phone and call.
Yeah. I love to pick up the phone and make my calls. Most agents, they shy away from that. I'm not really sure why they shy away from it because it's the easiest tool you could have, but
can I just
works for me.
Sorry.
Yeah. Jennifer, what?
When you start doing this every day, you start making calls, maybe you start doing the open houses. Back to what Bob was saying about consistency. Sometimes it can feel really boring. I make 6 calls a day, or I try to. That's generally what I do. Sometimes when I make those 6 calls, I may only have 1 conversation. Sometimes I may have 3. Sometimes I may have none. When I'm sitting here at the desk and I'm in front of my computer, it can feel like, oh gosh, I'm just making my calls. Here I go, making my notes. But even if you don't have a success that day, and when I say success, I mean like getting a listing appointment or a new buyer or something like that, do not stop doing the activities, because just because you don't get something right then doesn't mean that you're not going to get something later on. And guess what? It's going to be because of the call you made yesterday, That's know? Right. So I just want to share that.
It's not the calls you make, it's that you make the calls.
Make the calls. That's right.
Right. Make the calls. And this group has learned that probably more than most. We've kind of been reinforcing it over and over and over again. That's why we do our calls as a group, So to our viewers, we thank you so much for taking the time to watch our podcast. We hope that you're getting something out of this, especially to our realtor family and friends that want to do things to advance their business. And, nothing is too remedial in real estate. The basics are the best thing. So we would love to share that with you. We get by giving. I thank you for watching our podcast, Keeping It Real in North Carolina. Thank you so much for watching.